Hi everyone, it's Jeff here from Avada. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at how to use the privacy and consent bar in Avada. By the end of this video, you'll understand where the privacy and consent bar gets its content and how you can configure it on your website. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell icon to stay up to date with all new Avada videos. Alright, let's jump in. In the previous video, Website Privacy and Consent in Avada, we configured the majority of the privacy and consent global options in Avada. The last option here is for the privacy and consent bar. I will just turn this on. And as the page reloads, you can see it is a bar that loads along the bottom of the site, informing your visitors of the privacy and consent details of the site. We also get a new batch of global options, which enable us to style and configure the privacy and consent bar. The way the whole privacy and consent system works in Avada is that the Privacy Consent Tools section in the Global Options are where you set your privacy and consent options, and you then configure the privacy and consent bar and/or use the privacy and consent element to display those options to your visitors where they can interact with them. The Privacy Consent Tools and the Privacy and Consent bar are both totally optional. You can use either one without the other, or you can use both. For example, you might configure the Privacy Consent Tools and then present the information on a page or in an off-canvas using the privacy and consent element. Or you might not even need to configure the consent tools and just display a simple privacy and consent bar. It will all depend on what you need to inform your visitors of. If you enable this without the privacy consent tools option enabled, there are only about a dozen options, and the bar can be used to just let users know about the necessary cookies. But if you also have the privacy consent tools enabled, you can enable the privacy bar settings, which allows you to use the privacy and consent bar in a much more advanced way, very similar to the privacy and consent element. But let's just go through all the options, and we will configure this as we go. So firstly, you can determine the privacy bar expanded padding. The overall size will be determined by the content you add. This is the padding around the content. I might just adjust this padding a bit to 30 pixels all around. Then of course you can set the privacy bar background color, the font size, the text color, and the link color and link hover color. For this example, I think I want the background color to be color 7 and the text to be color 1. The others look okay. Under this is the privacy bar text option, where you can enter your custom privacy bar text. This can be as little or as much as you need and can only be determined by your individual privacy needs. For this example, I'm just going to customize it a little bit. After this comes an option called Privacy Bar Primary Button Action. This is referring to our OK button here when the privacy bar is collapsed like this, or doesn't have the privacy bar settings option enabled. The options here are Dismiss Only, Save Pre-Selected, and Save on Change. As the description explains, with Dismiss Only, the button closes the bar without saving any consent, and visitors grant consent via placeholders or the details panel. If you choose Save Pre-Selected, the button immediately saves the consent types selected under Privacy Selected Consent Types. Finally, with Save on Change, the button is hidden until the visitor opens the details panel and changes a checkbox. It then appears as a contextual save action. Note that regardless of this setting, once the settings panel is open, the button always saves the current checkbox selection. Here I will choose Save Pre-Selected. Next along, if you want, you can customize the privacy bar primary button text, but here I will leave it as OK. Then there are options for the privacy bar button font size, which I will just leave as is, and an option for the privacy bar layout. Here you can have it centered like it is now, or you can choose edges or stacked. Edges pushes each part to the edges, and stacked of course sets them on top of each other. I will leave this on centered. After this is an option called Privacy Bar Message Max Width. This controls the maximum width of the privacy bar's main row, the message, text and action buttons, centered within the bar. Leave empty for full width. With the stacked layout, this width applies to the message text only. Now the next option is called Privacy Bar Settings. If you just need a simple privacy bar, as I have mentioned, you can leave this disabled. But if you want a more advanced one, you can enable this, and when we do, a whole bunch more options are added to allow you to show more information and to provide checkboxes for tracking and third-party embeds. And as you can see, a settings link is also added to the privacy bar. This opens the detail panel as part of the bar. As per the next option, Privacy Bar Settings Style, this can be an inline link, a button, or a standalone link. We can see the link here, so let's try a button. The option after this controls the Privacy Bar Settings text. By default it says Settings, but you can change it to anything you like here. The next option, Privacy Bar Primary Button Update Text, controls the button text that shows on the default Privacy Bar button if a user changes a selection in the Details panel. The text on the button will change from what you set in the Privacy Bar button text option to what you set in this option. I'm happy with Update Settings. Following this are some options that control the layout of the settings area. Firstly is an option for the Privacy Bar content layout. Here you can choose columns or tabs. Columns are chosen by default and display the sections across the screen. But if I select tabs, the content refreshes and it now looks like this. The next option is Privacy Bar Content Max Width. This applies to both columns and tabs, and here I think I will give this some more room. For tabs, there are also specific options for tabs content height, tabs border size, border color, active background color, and content padding. But for this example, I think I will stick with columns. So with this selected, after the Content Max Width options, there are options for the Privacy Bar heading font size and for the heading color. I'll leave the font size, but I will change the heading color to color 5. There's also a column gap option, but 30 pixels looks fine to me. After this, there is an option called Privacy Bar Consent Item Style. With this, you can choose between standard checkboxes or slide toggles for the consent items in the Privacy Bar. I think I prefer toggles. If that is selected, there are also options for the toggle inactive, active, and thumb colors, all of which look fine to me in this situation. Then there are options for the cookie lifespan and description color. If left empty, these inherit from the Privacy Bar text color, but here I will set them to color 4 and color 3 respectively. Following this is a cookie description font size option, which is set to 0.85 ems by default, and I think that looks fine. Finally, there are options for an Accept All button and a Reject All button, and if you enable them, you also get an option to change the button text. But the way I have it set up here, I think I will leave these two off. Okay, so now if I make any selection in the tracking cookies or third-party embeds, you will see that the OK button now changes to Update Settings. So if I then clicked on Update Settings, it would then save those preferences and remove the Privacy Bar from view for as long as the cookie expiration date is set. If I select YouTube again, the button reverts back as there's nothing new to update. Okay, so that's our Privacy and Consent Bar configured. As mentioned earlier, the global Privacy and Consent options populate the Privacy and Consent Bar, but they also feed into the Privacy and Consent element because you might well want your cookie information in several places on your site, such as your privacy policy page, or alternatively in an off-canvas pop-up or sliding bar. Check out the other privacy videos for more details on those sorts of implementations. And that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Avada tutorials and deep dives. And if you have any questions or need help, feel free to create a support ticket. Our team is always ready to help. As always, thank you for choosing Avada.